David Brewster here, new episode of 3 for All. This is 3 Doug Aldrich Licks from 1997, and I've had some requests to feature some of Doug's music, and while he's not really a household name, a lot of the artists and bands he's worked with are household names, and he's a dynamite, great guitarist, filled with all these crazy, shred guitar sequences, and pivot arpeggios, and string skipping, very emotive, string bending and vibrato, a monster guitarist for sure. So Doug's been on the scene since the mid-'80s, and he worked with the band Lion back in the day. He eventually joined the band Hurricane, and then he's worked with Dio, Whitesnake, House of Lords, Glenn Hughes, Lita Ford. His music appears in Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. I mean, he's definitely been around for a long time, behind the scenes and touring with groups. But here's an image with some of the people he's worked with in his career so far. Over the last couple months, we've actually hit a lot of post-John Sykes Whitesnake guitarists here on the channel. Joel Hoekstra, Reb Beach, I recently did the Vandenberg chord play. Now we're looking at Doug Aldrich. And it made me think about Whitesnake and this legacy of all these great guitarists that have worked with this band. And here's an image featuring this breakdown, this chronological breakdown of the guitarists that have worked with Whitesnake. And this is really impressive. Licks in this lesson came from a Young Guitar issue from 1997, and Young Guitar is a Japanese guitar magazine, in case you're not familiar with that name. But I'd never seen this footage before, and it was uploaded on YouTube like 5 or 6 months ago, and when I saw it, I thought, whoa, there's the Doug Aldrich lesson right there. The first licks this bluesy bending phrase in A minor pentatonic, and during the video, Doug's talking about using bending and vibrato to serve up this soulful, emotive sound, using bending and vibrato techniques. And this is definitely the easiest lick in the batch. But it's really cool, like this. One more time. So right there, we're kind of in this middle area of A minor pentatonic, and we're doing this really typical bending idea like this. Licks like that, I just think of Jimmy Page. You can definitely hear licks like that, similar to that in Stairway to Heaven solo and some other songs, and there's lots of other players too. But I do think of Jimmy Page with that sequence. So you're literally just bending that D up and down and then grabbing C, A, C, and then doing it again. You can do that twice in a row. And then right there, you're going to bend that D again, grab E on the B string. That's where he grabs the C note up there and bends that up a whole step. And then play C to A. Skip over and grab that D note. You're going to bend that up and slowly release it. And then C, A to G. And then you want to grab that D and bend it to E again. So really slow. Kind of has like a Hendrixy flavor to it. I really like it. Next up is the shred scale sequence, and we're in E natural minor, or Aeolian. And during the video, Doug starts demonstrating this picking pattern, and he starts really slow, and then starts going faster and faster, like this. And right there, we're just really descending this B, A to G twice in a row. And I'm kind of doing like half and half picked, half legato. You could pick everything. You could also do pure legato. And just pick that first note, that B. But I'm doing half and half. So that's pick, pick, pull off. And then right there, you're going to move down and grab this F sharp to E. Go back to that G. And then F sharp, E to D. So really slowly. And then do it again. start going faster and faster. You could also move that in other positions, like maybe move it through octaves like this. You know, put it way up here. And then do the same thing. Move it down. Move it down again. That's a really good sequence to practice for picking, fretting, and kind of coordinating your hands together. So one more time here. The next lick uses pivot arpeggios, and I actually had a lesson in Guitar Player magazine. That would have been the holiday 2017 issue with Learning to Fly. And that lesson is a pivot arpeggio lesson, and I'm breaking down licks from Gary Moore and Steve Vai and Nuno Bettencourt. And if you want to dive a little bit deeper into pivot arpeggios, check out that Guitar Player lesson. Up next is a very common pivot arpeggio idea in E minor, and something like this. One more time. We're in E minor. We're basically grabbing this B, D, E, and stretching up and grabbing that A. And you're going to do that 4 times in a row. And the pivot is like this. You're going up, and then you're pivoting off that E note and going back down. And you want to practice that, really slowly, and then build up that strength and speed, over time. So start like this, and then start going faster. So you're going to do that 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to basically change that A to that G and do that 4 times like this. That's going to feel like the minor pentatonic scale right there, so that should be a lot easier. So you're moving from A to that G and you're doing groups of 4. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then he goes back to that A and he does it a few more times. I think he actually ends on A in the clip, but I ended on that bend to E like this. But you can end that however you want, but here's the footage of him just shredding through that idea. Here's a bonus lick, and this is an expanded pivot arpeggio idea, and he's string skipping too, and this is pretty terrifying. So here's the clip of him playing this at full speed. Okay, that was insane. So we're going to take that clip and slow it down half speed, basically, so you can see and hear what he's doing. So here's the exact same clip slowed down. So that looks something like this. One more time. This kind of has that signature Doug Aldrich blurry kind of sequencing going on. So the first thing we're doing is we're string skipping and also using a pivot arpeggio approach right there, which is really cool. So it's kind of like an E minor blues implied, but we're grabbing this G, B flat, E, and that A way up there, and we're using a pivot arpeggio like this. That's going to wake up the neighbors right there, that flat 5. So you're going to do that basically twice in a row, and then you're going to cycle between that A to that G like this, really slow. And then right there, after that G to E, or I'm sorry, A to E, G to E, then you're going to double up on this F sharp. Like that. Which is really weird. string skipping pivot arpeggios. There's that A to E, G to E, and then that double F sharp. And you're just pulling off to that E note. Then you're going to come down, and then right there you're going to come over here and grab the flat 5. Then you reach up and grab the E, skip that D and grab C sharp, and then you're coming down the flat 5 again right there like the minor blues. It's really weird. And definitely Doug just crams all that in there. But that lick is really terrifying, and it has a very unusual sound thanks to that flat 5 hiding in there, you know, during the pivot and arpeggio part. And then that blurry sequence cruising down, you know, just it kind of plays with your ear like, you know, what is going on right there? It's really elusive, but so cool. That's going to wrap this look at 3 Doug Aldrich licks from 1997, and Doug's a monster guitarist for sure. And it's interesting to notice these licks from 1997 from the Young Guitar issue. And some of those licks actually, you know, kind of mutate and change over the years. And if you start watching some live solos from when he played with Dio or Whitesnake or really any live footage with Doug, you can find some of these same ideas, but they're mutated and expanded and brought, you know, into the modern age, I guess. So he's definitely been working on some of these ideas and refining some of these ideas for decades, which is really cool. And when you hear him play, it's just so smooth and effortless. He's like a flamethrower, you know, just throwing out all this great stuff, this intensity, you know, when he's playing, especially during a live guitar solo, it just builds this intensity and this fire, you know, from his fingers, which is so cool. So anyway, leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Late Night Lessons, and I'll be back before you know it with more content and material. Thank you.